A very wonderful good morning. Here are the Lume
Plotters, yes.
Yes.
In this lovely morning.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
Before the sun goes, comes up.
Exactly what I was going to say. Very well put. I couldn't have put it better myself. So, today's episode essentially is another hodgepodge mix of stuff that has happened since we last did a news episode, because once again, there's a whole bunch of stuff that has happened.
So many things happened.
Yeah, so I think it's almost like given now that every like fourth or fifth episode has to be a recap of what has happened in the world.
In the world of horology.
But before we get into the world of horology, both of us are wearing new watches.
No way.
Oh,
now I'm
goodness
super surprised.
gracious.
I don't even know what you're wearing.
Yeah, I told you, but you don't remember.
No, of course. I don't remember. When you talk, I usually just tune out, as you said before.
Exactly. You already mentioned yours, I think, but you can go ahead and mention yours again.
Yeah, I am still totally in love with my Breitling Chronomat B01 42 millimeters, a light blue or baby blue or whatever its color is called. I don't even know. I think they don't even say it on their website. What's the color?
Ice blue.
Do they say that?
I don't know.
Anyhow, it's ice blue with a platinum bezel. It's amazing. I'm except one day for a watch event, I actually wore this watch exclusively the whole time, and I can't believe how much I like it. It was completely, as you know, completely unplanned.
It's so weird. Why? Because why would you want a platinum bezel? And the same thing goes with white gold bezels on the date. Just like why do you need a white gold bezel? It's not making the watch precious metal. What function does it add?
Platin. Rawr.
But why? Why?
It's the best.
I don't know.
Anyhow, so the one new thing I have that is not there before is that I have now the black Rollo rubber strap as well, and a new pin buckle.
Mm-hmm. And this is Breitling.
That's Breitling, yeah. And I had before the blue one, Rollo. I bought this extra with a new pin buckle because they have the folding clasp, and I had a bit of a discussion with the guys from the boutique, and I said, like, but you have the folding clasp. Why would you buy the pin buckle for it, right? I said, well, the folding clasp adds another layer of thickness to it, right?
It does.
And it also is a bit, because of that, it's a bit more, for me at least on my wrist, it's not the most comfortable, right? It's comfortable enough. I could wear it, but the pin buckle is more comfortable for me. It's just easier. It's just better wearing experience for me. So I bought two Rollo rubber straps, one in blue and one in black, and two pin buckles, one with the brushed and polished things, and one is completely polished. So
I have to say, I partially agree with you on this one. I prefer having a actual buckle. So not the pin buckle, not the fold, hidden clasp. I want, like my Tudor has, the big old buckle at the bottom.
Right.
And then the strap on either side. I like that. On a sporty watch, especially with rubber straps, I think it looks really good. Very similar. I mean, I guess the person who started this would have been Everest, right? Everest was the first one to have this setup of having replacement links in rubber, right? So you keep the original clasp, and then you just replace the links with a small rubber portion. And I like that. I like that a lot. That's my favorite. Ever since the Tudor, the Black Bay 54, I have to say I'm a huge fan. That is my favorite strap of all straps.
Yeah,
I tried to put it on the sub.
Yeah,
it didn't work. Yeah, unfortunately, the end link fit perfectly. Like, it was absolutely beautiful. But the hole where the spring bar would go was too. You know how Rolex loves to put their spring bars super close to the actual case itself?
Yeah.
That was the issue. So Tudor doesn't do this. Tudor leaves the spring bar outset. So the spring bar itself didn't line in, but otherwise it would have been beautiful. So
I have selected a few straps here from my arsenal. So the black Tropic strap. Then this Opto Watch Co. I don't know if it's Halloween, whatever it is. No, I know it's like a very nice used leather one. Then this one from Hodinkee that I got in the last sale, which is a bit weird color, like a very faint orange or something. I don't know. And then we have this light blue.
Oh, I like that one.
Also
light blue.
Also from Hodinkee. No, that is from.
Yeah,
it's from Hodinkee. Yeah. And this looks actually will look pretty cool on the watch.
It will. Yeah. I can tell. And what's the lug width? Yeah. Is the lug width 20?
It's 22.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Yeah. And then this Hodinkee darkish champagne. No, it's not champagne. What am I talking? Cognac-ish. I don't know. And another one from Gekota. That's an older one, but also very nice looking. Used
brown,
light brown. Yeah, with a like when they have to it looks like little cracks in it. It just looks like, like the old sofas.
Yeah,
the old
exactly.
leather sofas that have they look
all
like they're
cracks,
slightly cracked.
Yeah.
It's really, really nice. Anyhow, so these I have to try on the watch. Yeah. The only downside to this super cool rubber straps from Breitling, which I really like, they're so comfortable, is that they don't have quick release spring bars on it.
Yeah.
But it's easy enough
cut
to
your
remove,
own.
Thankfully, for the rubber.
Are you going to cut your own holes?
I was thinking about it, but then I thought, we know with the rubber,
if you can cut the leather, you can cut the rubber.
I know. Probably it's not a problem, but I didn't want to, impact the structural integrity of the hull of the Star Trek USS.
Which is what I said. No, I said the same thing. I said the rubber somehow. I watched a video on it about the best rubber straps, and the guy who was talking, it was entirely in French. I don't know why I watched it. I was falling asleep, but whatever. I watched it, and the guy was saying that the best rubber straps are the Watch Gecko ones, or Strap Gecko. It's Watch Gecko, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
But he said you have to make sure they don't have the quick release because they tear in the small bit. They will, because of the stretching.
Right.
It will eventually rip on that little thing. So he said, if you get any type of vintage style or these rubber straps, make sure they don't have this quick release spring bars.
Interesting. I
don't know.
The way they're punched out, I mean, this is really, it's nice oval, it's round, there's no sharp corners or something. So it should be technically okay, but who knows? So what are you wearing? What is new? How is it new? Then I'm done. Wow.
Now I'm falling asleep. Your voice is putting me to sleep, Ralph. No.
Yeah.
No, we had a dog wake up at 3 a.m. throwing up.
Heavier and heavier.
Yes.
And you just breathe in,
Have you ever thought of making one of those?
Sorry?
You can make one of those audio tapes where you just put people to sleep.
You know what I have done last time in Africa? I have recorded, I think, about 10 hours of all of the sounds of African nightlife outside the tent, and it's amazing. It's just this whole different animals making different sounds, some lion roaring and walking past, some hyenas, and it's really, really nice. And I have a couple of hours of that audio footage, and I always thought, let me put this onto YouTube and see if people like it as background music.
You talk over it, so, and you can really say,
I can do some meditation.
This is the sound of Ralph. All right. Mm-hmm. I am wearing my new
Casio G-Shock. No, sorry, what is that? The Hamilton.
Hamilton khaki.
Nice.
So once again, I rebought the Hamilton khaki Hodinkee edition because it was such a good deal on eBay.
Yeah, but you told me that you bought it, but you never said that you received it already. That's why.
Did I not? No. It was retail originally $600. With taxes and everything, it was around $700. It would have been originally from Hodinkee. I looked up my original receipt, and I think I ended up with import duties and everything. I paid $2,500. So I set a goal for myself. If I find one new for $2,500, I would buy it. So I found it new, but the guy had bought the original Hamilton bracelet to go with it, if you've seen the one on the khaki, which I didn't want, but I bought it for $2,900. And I thought, easily I could sell this bracelet for 400 dirhams. And sure enough, within a day, I sold it. So I was back down to 2,500. So essentially exactly where it would have been if it was purchased from Hodinkee. And I'm enjoying it. And I think this is I'm going to Kazakhstan for skiing in 2 weeks? Exactly 2 weeks. So this is the watch I'm going to take.
Nice.
I think this is going to be a good, kind of beater ski watch.
What again is this movement in there? It's a Hamilton H40 or something?
H50, which is the 80-hour power reserve. And They took the ETA 2801, I want to say, and they lowered the beat
manual?
rate.
No.
It is manual.
It's manual wind only.
Yeah. No date manual wind. So
yeah, let me check on WatchBase. Calibers by brand. Hamilton. I love WatchBase. H50. No date? On date?
No date.
No date. So that's the ND version. Yeah, that's
it is a 2801.
It's the base.
Exactly what I said.
2801-2. So that's the 2801-2. Isn't that the Peugeot? No, that was 7001. Sorry, that's the 7001.
No, 2801 is original ETA. Once again, the question, and I was really, and once 80 hours is great, right?
Oh, that's lovely. Yeah.
So this is one of those movements that once again is only in the Hamiltons, right?
Yeah.
So it really makes you think about this whole nonsense of in-house movements again, right? They call it an in-house movement, which is absolute bullshit.
In group. I think they should call it in group.
In group.
Because ETA is part of Hamilton. They have the same parent.
Yeah,
so, I mean, they're owned by the Swatch Group. But they're made exclusively. So it's basically, in my terminology, I would call this a manufacture movement. It's manufactured exclusively for Hamilton.
But then once again, the H50 and I think it's the Tissot Powermatic 80 are nearly identical. But one is called the Powermatic 80 and has a date. And the other one has no date and is manual one.
No. That's based on the 2824. This is based on the 2801.
H50D is based on the 2824.
Sorry, the what?
So there's an H50D, which I'm guessing the D stands for date. And that one said it was based on the 2824 on WatchBase.
No, it says here the H50 with the date is based on the 2801-2. It's the same. It's based on the same one.
What? I just saw right now. H50. I just saw.
There's the new date and there's a date. The H40 is based on the, this has the weekday, so it's at 2834. The H40.
What did I see then?
I don't know. I don't know.
No, I saw the H50ND.
Yes. Which is also 2801.
Yeah, but then look at the description. Based on either the 2802 or 2804. Oh, I thought it said 2824.
Yeah, right, but the thing is, the base is still basically in the end, it's the 2801 because the 2802 and 04, they're all based on the 2801.
But what's the difference between the H50 and the H50ND?
Just the date.
ND is no date, no?
Correct.
And 2804 is the date. Okay, whatever. Cool.
It doesn't matter. It's a good movement, and I think this is the cool thing, or the bad thing about Swatch Group. They used to still sell these ETA movements to certain companies, right? But they didn't sell the upgraded versions, right? All of these that are in the Hamiltons, the Longines, all of these with silicone hairsprings and high power reserve, all of this stuff, they do not sell to others.
So once again, the 2824 is the base, the cheapest one you can get, I think. And then the 2801 is a step above the 2824, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I don't know.
Something like this.
We understand.
I think so.
Anyhow, this is at least it's. I mean, these are great movements. Workhorse movement. They can probably last 20, 30 years without service if you're lucky. Even in the new versions, I think they don't get enough credit there at ETA because the Powermatic 80 and people are, the cheaper versions of the Powermatic 80 have plastic parts in it that don't need lubrication because basically they're saying this watch is lubricated thanks to the plastic over its lifetime enough. You do probably not need to service it, right? Because it's in cheaper watches. So the point is, a lot of people say, oh, but you can't service it. But if you buy a watch for $300, do you want to pay $150 for a service? It doesn't make sense, right? It's probably cheaper to just put a new movement in.
Yeah. I found some pedigree on the ETA movements right now. This is on the Watch You Seek. 2801, manual wind, no date. 2804, manual wind, date. 2824, automatic, date. 2826, automatic, big date. 2826-2. 2826, automatic, date, 36,000 beats per hour. 2832, automatic date, 36,000 beats per hour. 2834, automatic day at 12.
Yeah, that's the date.
Date.
And
then
even
2828
that, they
is
have
automatic date.
at Hamilton in a different version as well.
And then here's the other things. These are all the options. So we have the standard, which has a Nivaflex mainspring, the ETA Chucks, shock protection, polyrubles as the pallet stones, nickel gilt balance, blah, 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 blah. Okay?
Yeah.
And then you can go to
all
top.
Back in the days when you could still purchase them, right? You can,
And then you can go top and then chronometer spec.
And now if you know all of the Sellita ones, you have this as well, right? Sellita and AMT is the brand that makes custom movements and even builds watches for companies. And a couple of these micro brands or smaller producers actually use this as well. They built the entire watch for them at Sellita. That's crazy.
Exactly. And then also they have different positions. So standard is only tested in 2 positions. And Elabore is tested in 3 positions. Elabore, top is tested in 5 positions.
And then you have chronometer.
Chronometer, which is tested per task.
The best spec you can get.
So there you go.
Yeah, there you go. It's crazy. It's crazy what you
And on that bombshell, it's time to end.
What?
What?
Yeah. Anyhow, so that's a good watch. 80 hours power reserve. I love it. I mean, I think you should always have that's the same as I only have 70 in my Breitling, but what to do? It's a chronograph, and it's a chronograph that works.
Gross.
In our watch group, there is another person who has a broken AP.
What do you mean?
So we have 2 more people that have a broken chronograph function, and they're Royal Oak chronographs. Now, third time that same issue happened to that person. Third time. And the other person is Nico with his Code 1159. He has a problem with the movement. When he says when he's winding it, it's super hard resistance somewhere. So he thinks it's not normal, and he's now sending it in as well. So it's crazy. What is going on in AP? Why do they have so many issues? It's surprising.
Yeah, these fly-by-night companies, they're terrible.
maybe because of the increased production.
These micro brands.
From 40 to 50 to next to 60. Yeah. Now they're scaling down a bit. Maybe it's just this growth for them is not so easy scalable. Maybe. I don't know.
I think so. I think that obviously is going to have some big issues down the line. You can't just say, well, we're going to make everything with the same amount of people, but we'll do it much faster. What's going to give? Obviously, it's going to be the quality that's going to give.
Yeah.
That's,
at some
as we
stage
say,
it will, yeah.
You have this 3 pronged thing when it comes to manufacturing. You could either maximize on your time. You can do something very quickly. You could either focus on quality, or you could focus on your costs. And you can choose to, right? That's the way it always goes.
Yeah.
You cannot have all 3.
So,
and I think for them, they were really pumping it on time. They want to get as many things out as quickly as possible, and they want to do it
ride the wave, to a certain extent.
Yeah.
When you can, right?
And then, of course, their quality suffered because of this. And I guarantee you, they didn't say, "Oh, let's just hire a bunch of people and make a big, new factory." No, they're going to say, let's keep the same costs. And ergo, quality is going to suffer.
But you know what's, when you see that they're actually, of the 3 Holy Trinity brands, that Patek is the one that produces the most watches. They produce as many watches as Vacheron and IP together. And that's always, for me, I was like, what? I thought, because they're arguably the most reputed of these three?
Well, once again, if you recall, we had a good friend named Mahmoud on the show, and he bought a very nice Calatrava.
Yeah.
And do you remember what happened to his very nice Calatrava?
No.
It broke immediately.
Well, yeah. Lovely.
And then he was saying, they were telling him how hard it was to get. No, you cannot get it. It's impossible to get another one. You're going to have to send it in. And he was very adamant. He said, listen, I've had this for like 2 days. Like I'm not sending it off for 6 months of
exactly. I mean,
warranty repair. It's a 2-day-old watch. And then they said, okay, come by, we have another one. But they were telling, well, there's no more.
Impossible.
Yes,
hey, you know what? I have actually seen the Cubitus.
Yeah, you showed me.
I put it on my wrist. I ran around for 10 minutes in the shop with the Cubitus on my arm.
Disgusting.
You know what? I was saying, let me see it on my wrist. Let me see how it looks, how it feels, to see if I really bash it or not. And to be honest, I am still in that same situation after wearing it. I think it's not for me, but I've seen it on Mohammed's wrist, for example, who was with me there, and it looked really good on him. It just didn't look so good on me, or I didn't get the connection. However, I tried the 6007, which I still like in red. I still like that.
Which is which one?
That's the Calatrava with a sporty design with a pointer date. I think is it pointer date or is it the small seconds? I can't remember always. But that's like still my favorite one. I love it. White gold.
Well, you sent me the picture. I saw your picture of how it looked on your wrist, and I still maintain it looks like a large Cartier Santos, which I think the proportions are not quite right.
Yeah,
I think if they were to make this in a smaller size, around a 35 mm, just what Calatrava, not Calatrava, did I say Calatrava? The Santos, Cartier Santos is what I meant to say. It looks like a large Cartier Santos. If they made it in the medium size, I think it could look good.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I think, I mean, the two-tone version was the one that I was able to try, right? I think it was okay because it didn't look too big, but I still felt that the dial was too empty. And usually I love negative space. I don't mind a nice dial to shine. But in this case, it just looked off. Something wasn't right. And I think also this elephant ears, there's a bit too much elephant ears.
It is. It is.
Just Did you see bit too much, maybe 1 millimeter less or something, or half a millimeter. I don't know what it is, but something is a bit off. And I can't put my finger on what it is. But however, I think in the platin version, that would change. When you put a strap on it, it might look very different. So
if you look at the video that was done by the ID guy, he had done a sketch of what it would look like without the elephant ears and all of this stuff. And it looked kind of good. He sized it down a little bit. He said the aggressive taper also makes it look stupid because the head is so big and the taper is so little.
Yes.
That also is not exactly doing it any favors.
You are sort of right, because when I put it on my wrist, I thought, wow, this tapers a lot. For the bracelet itself, it's okay. But when you look at the overall taper, the elephant ears, the normal case, then the connection to the bracelet, and then the clasp, and you think, whoa, that's like from 50 millimeters to 18 or something.
And now, did you see that they have somebody, I don't know if it's fake or if it's real, it came from a pretty legit source. It came from Patekaholic on Instagram, and somebody posted a Tiffany's stamp dial.
Oh,
Cubitus. So just to add insult to injury, there's now a Cubitus with a Tiffany stamped dial.
Let's see if that's good. But talking about dials, let's do a segue to IWC.
Oh, yes,
Two news.
Bleu.
The blue.
Bleu.
The new engineer.
Which, by the way, for those that don't know, I am pretty much colorblind. Or I say pretty much because once in a while I can get something right. But when I saw this new blue dial, and I honestly did not see any bit of difference between this and the old one.
The other one is aqua, so it is a bit more greenish blue. Anyhow, the aqua I wasn't a fan of. I don't know. I never wore it. We saw it, right? We saw it in in person.
Yeah.
When it was just released, we got some
I liked it.
prototypes.
I liked it, but it doesn't mean that I like the right color. You know what I mean? I thought it was cool. I liked it a lot, actually. If it wasn't for the date, 100% I would get one. And then on top of that, the retail prices now, the secondary prices, I saw it for on our group 20,000 dirhams, and I was thinking to myself,
no, that's the old one.
Was it the old one?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
That's the old engineer. I know.
No, they look the same.
And for the old one, it's too much. Because the old one you can get for way less. For the new one, we got one in 30,000 with the black dial, 30,000 dirhams. So it's okay price, but I think it's going down a bit more. But there you go. You are in the 8,000 euro, $8,000 range, which is exactly where we all thought it should have been in the first place, not 10. Right?
Exactly.
Not above 10.
Exactly.
But now in blue, the aqua is really it's like a green. And the blue is nice, but will it start another boom?
No.
See, and this is the weird thing. When the Black Bay 58 came out in blue, that
it was
the hype machine, right? Everybody's like, oh my God, the blue Black Bay 58. And it was
the
going
greatest
crazy.
Thing ever.
I think now the engineer comes out in blue and everybody says like, okay.
Nah. Look, they're trying to be, Tudor.
But they have nicely done, like they do with the engineer. Every watch dial color has the exact same date disc color. So that's really cool. So the date is not really popping out as much, because it's all tone and tone. So that's pretty cool.
I don't know
I
how I feel.
I still like it. I still like this watch. I think I really, really like it. I think I always had a soft spot for the engineer, just the price. But now with the retail secondary price going down as much as it did, I really think, I would buy it pre-owned. I wouldn't buy it new, but that's me. However, I saw this morning a video while I was brushing my teeth of somebody from the English Watch Channel. Or I probably got this wrong. And he talked about buying watches from the boutique and why you would do that, even if it's full retail price. And he said, especially in London, when you go to the boutique and you buy there in the IWC boutique on Bond Street, you get invited to lots of events, new launches, sometimes even F1 and other things. But for that, you get the full retail experience, a very nice one because it's all done in the IWC environment. And you get invited to all of these extra brand building, loyalty building things, whatever they do, which can feel nice if you like to be pampered, right? So that's on one hand. And then on the other hand, there's people, sometimes like me, says like, I can't be bothered with these events. I've been to too many of these. Just give me the watch for a few thousand cheaper.
Yep.
There's both, because I can understand that you like this kind of treatment, right? I think that's, for example, why our friend Mahmoud, for example, is so happy to buy his APs. Right?
Yeah.
Because he
and
gets
Vacherons
that
and IWCs and
VIP treatment there, and it feels good. You don't get a discount, but you do get access, and you do get invitations to lots of things.
The discount he would have gotten on that IWC Ingenieur, let's say it would have been a couple $1,000 maximum, right?
Mm-hmm.
He got free VIP tickets to Formula One. He met George Russell and Hamilton.
Yes.
And they drove him there in a Mercedes S-Class.
Yeah.
All of this, to me, if you said, okay, would you be interested in this package for $2,000? I'd say, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
Inclusive of, chauffeur and tickets and VIP treatment and food and drinks and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, it's
like
nice.
Good deal.
And of course, you see people like him who have lots of customer contact in person, right? So he wears the watch. People notice it in these meetings with high profile customers and all of this stuff. So it is a bit of an multiplicator effect, right? You could say.
Yes. So, I didn't think about this, but yeah, you're right, because it's essentially he is now a salesperson every time he wears that watch.
Yeah.
Because he is going into meetings with people like-minded and same,
financial
income levels, financial capabilities.
Disposable income, yeah.
So it's not me that is going and standing in front of,
students,
a bunch of students. Although one of my students does have a bunch of Richard Miles, and now he's I mentioned this, he's an MB&F collector. And then there's another student
As you do.
who I had last year in my class. And this was quite funny because I was wearing my, last year he noticed my sub.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, and he pulled up his sleeve and he was wearing a sub as well. And so we kind of noted that, but then I only saw him wearing the sub. So in my mind, I was like, okay, so he's got one sub that he wears every single day, which is obviously totally fine.
Mm-hmm.
And then yesterday or 2 days ago, whenever we were in the class last, I was telling him, yeah, I'm thinking about selling my sub, which I've since come around. I'm not going to sell the sub, I think. But
okay.
Nonetheless, I was chatting with him. And then he said, but then you're not going to have the sub. And I said, but I still have my Explorer, and I pull up my sleeve and I'm wearing the Explorer. And he pulls up his Kindora sleeve and he has the exact same Explorer on his wrist. I was like, is this a 40? Is this a 36? No, it's a 36. And he put them side by side. It was kind of funny, right? So it's still, once again, does Rolex care at all about my ability to sell to students? I don't think so. No.
Well,
I'm not the type of person.
This is the problem because we don't have. This is not a boutique. Rolex is obviously it's a boutique, but it's not run by Rolex. It's run by a retailer, so they don't care too much about the brand itself and how you carry it forward. That has to come from the brand, not from the retailer.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this is one of the things that really bugged me. I was thinking the other day, like, do I really want to let go of my Submariner? I had a little mental quandary, and I thought to myself, honestly, out of all of my watches, the worst experience in any kind of brand, in any sales arena that I've ever had is hands down Rolex every single time. Every time I have walked into a Rolex boutique, they make it seem like you're inconveniencing them for doing their job. Like, I was sitting down. How dare you make me stand up? And then, can I see this? No, you cannot see that. Why would you want to look at a watch?
Yeah, this is the one thing that I also found. The last time I went with my friend who picked up his GMT Master 2 in two-tone, right? He got a call, it's there. He is a very big collector, right? So it was there. So we both went in the Rolex boutique. And while we were looking around, we said, this is this watch. Can we please see this and that watch there? Sorry, but I can't show it to you. I said, why? It's for exhibition only. I said, yeah, we want to look at it. We don't want to buy it. Just look at it. Yeah. No, it's not possible.
No, not possible.
I said, we are just picking up a watch for whatever, 60, 70,000 dirhams. And we can't even handle that watch because why?
So this is, I'm assuming you were in Dubai, right?
Yeah.
So this was Siddiqui.
Yeah.
Siddiqui told me the same thing. However, Huri in Abu Dhabi and Alain says you can touch exhibition pieces.
Of course.
These come from the top. So essentially, every time I've tried in Siddiqui to touch an exhibition only piece, they tell you no, you cannot touch it. So they, at some point in the rankings, said exhibition means do not touch. No one can touch it. No one can look at it. I think this was misconstrued somewhere because the original point of exhibition was that you go, you try, you look, and then you decide if you want to go on the wait list.
Exactly, but that's the point of an exhibition watch is to see if it fits you, if you like it, if it feels good.
And this is in Siddiqui, this lost its meaning at some point, and now they have no idea what it means, and the salespeople just do what they're told.
So if you're listening, the Siddiquis, let us try these watches. That's what they're for.
I mean, once again, your brothers over at Huri know how to do it, so why can't you?
Yeah,
it's ridiculous. And I remember because obviously, this is one thing that I noticed when I went to my Alain boutique. Not only do they know me, but they don't know me in a good way. By the way, they don't open the door and say, "Oh, good, Martin's here." They probably say, "Oh, great, Martin's here." Oh, not him again. He's gonna come and touch a bunch of watches and leave.
These greasy French fry fingers.
Yes, they come straight from McDonald's. But they had the 50 millimeter, whatever, titanium monstrosity that came out last time, right? about a year ago. And of course, the only reason I wanted to see it is so that I could see how ridiculously huge it is. Put it on my wrist. It was a joke. I took a picture and we put it right back, right? And at least they let you do that. But it goes further than this. In Hori, which, don't get me wrong, I don't like either one of them. I think the experience in both are equally abysmal. However, Hori will even let you touch someone else's watch that they're waiting to receive, which I think, it's nice of them, right? And they know that I'm not going to ask to buy it, probably is why they're letting me do it, right?
These are sometimes things where you have to be very careful because you don't want, if you by accident let it drop or make it, scratch it or so, that's not really nice, right? So if it's already promised to somebody, then sometimes you feel like, okay, that's borderline, right?
Yes.
Because you don't want any handling things. The whole idea is that you're the first person to wear the watch, basically. But yeah, I understand. It's nice sometimes. So that's the buying experience, and I think it really depends on the salespeople. And it really depends also on where you are. It's not necessarily the brand itself, but obviously if a brand is super popular like this one, like Rolex, then it just doesn't matter. You don't have to do a better job. Even though I think Siddiqui is very, very determined to offer premium experiences. And they do in a lot of their boutiques of different brands, right? Where you get fantastic experiences. So, and they do Dubai Watch Week and all of these fantastic events from basically the goodness of their heart. So I think there is a lot of reason that you want to have a nice experience. But I guess with Rolex, it's tough even for the salespeople if you have too many tire kickers, too many people running in and saying, hey, can I have a Submariner? No. Next. It's probably getting a bit annoying. So talking about the brands, IWC also has a new system, not a new system. You can now customize a Portugieser watch. They have a new system, a customization, individualization program. Did you know that? So you basically...
No, I did not.
All right, let me share my screen and I'll show... Oh, I can't. Only organizers can do that. Basically, there is a new way of you get your personalized IWC. So you can take the Portugieser chronograph, you can choose a range of case materials, dial colors and straps, and then you design your own bespoke piece, more or less. You have, what is it? I think you have steel, gold cases, then 12 different dial colors, and then you choose also the hands and all of these stuff. So you can do a lot of different things and make it yours. It's not like it's super millions of different combinations like Norcane did, but it's a way there, which is pretty cool. You basically really create a one of a kind watch. Is it better than, for example, doing this like Omega and just throwing every different variation on the website? I don't know. Because this way you basically keep it, right? It's like a bit like Rolex does, right? You choose your watch. You're saying
you choose,
hey,
your date just from 6 different dial colors, but then you don't actually order it.
Exactly. You're just basically saying, okay, I want this color, I want this bezel, I want this dial, right? And then
I think this is still stupid. I believe that unless you have the ability to order it, there's no point for this nonsense.
Yeah, but it makes it look like it's less choice. Here, this is the customization program. It says here, time to get personal. Customization for Portugieser chronograph.
By the way, did you notice that it also reverse? So JLC does this as well.
Ah, right. It's a Richemont thing, maybe? Yeah.
So I think this is a Richemont thing because you can choose, all you're doing in this case is choosing a strap essentially for a watch, right? You choose a dial or a watch.
Yeah.
And then a strap for it.
As I said, it's a bit like the Rolex way of choosing, finding your watch.
Yeah,
you
it's
choose
not
your
really
material
choosing
and size.
correct.
Then you choose the dial. Then you choose the strap and then the buckle. And then that's it, right? But it says here, you can only do this in the boutique, right? I think. because you have to book a boutique appointment. Can't do this online. Yeah, you can do this only in the boutique. So, but it's cool. I mean, you have different options. It's nice. It's nice.
Yep, correct.
Yeah. So IWC,
I mean,
good,
it's
good on
nice
you.
as-
Good on you. Yeah.
But I am 99% sure they already did this for JLC when they were coming out for the straps. And then also, kind of, Hodinkee did something similar back when they used to have a website where they used to allow you to choose a watch, choose a dial color, and then put a strap, one of their straps on it in different colors.
Yeah.
Which was also kind of cool. But it's in the similar vein.
Yeah, indeed. So who else has done something pretty cool out? It's Universal Geneve.
Oh, yeah, the 3 new watches, which I have to say, I didn't know what they were going to do. Obviously, I didn't have any real idea.
Yep.
And when I saw the first 3, I really like the one with the blue dial. They're all 3 essentially limited edition SAS branded, co-branded. Only one?
The piece uniques, 3-piece uniques.
Yes. Yeah. So, but essentially they all look, well, I didn't like all of them as much, but the blue dial I loved. I think the blue dial is the white gold, or is it platinum?
I don't know. Yeah, I have to check.
It's one of the metals.
Yeah, I think they're looking cool, but what they are is they're absolute reconstructions of the original pole routers. And as you know, the pole router was designed for Scandinavian Airlines back in the days, right? To be magnetic resistance to fly over the pole, over the North Pole, because that's the new route to the Americas.
But still, no one has answered the question, what time is it at the North Pole?
What time it is? Do you think time stops there?
All of the time zones coincide. They can,
yes.
They do. And what's his face? The physicist, Neil deGrasse Tyson, said he posed this question. He said, "What time is it at the pole?" And as you go up higher north and as you go down south, the gap between time zones obviously is getting smaller and smaller and smaller.
Small, yes.
So there is no point of having time zones at those areas.
That's very true. So actually, if you run around the North Pole, you're just going back and forth between days.
Yeah, you're running around the world. If you run fast enough, you can go backwards in time.
Yes, of course. Yes, that's how it works. Yeah, that's how we discovered time travel. Martin and me.
Exactly. But you have to run fast enough.
While we were at the North Pole running in circles.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, so these 3 watches, and now, first of all, everybody came out and said, these are new pole router models. And then, of course, once you read the article and you said, okay, no, it's not the new version. It's a redo of an old version for auction.
Yes.
2026 is when we see the first official pole router release, and it will look nothing like these, basically.
But the thing is, we all kind of want it to look like this.
So George Kern said this. It's such a tough job, and he says he's talking, every time he talks about Universal Geneve, he talks about his advisory board with lots of collectors, industry experts.
You know who else has one of these advisory boards? Who? You know who else has one of these?
No.
The guy from Patek who designed the Cubist.
But they're all employed, right? Yeah.
This is what I'm afraid of there as well. He also has a bunch of people employed.
So he says that, and they're working super, super hard on making sure that the thin line between, they're saying, if we just reissue old pole routers, reissue them, they will tell us you're lazy. That's too much.
Yep.
If we do everything too new, then they say like, you're straight too far from the history of the brand. So you have to.
And this is what, once again, Tudor does so perfectly. They do 2 lines. They have their new stuff and they have their heritage stuff, so to speak, right? And therefore, they're able to do all of their reissues under the Black Bay name, and they're able to do all of their new stuff under the Pelagos name if we're looking at dive watches. And that is super cool. So I think if they were to split the idea into 2 separate camps like that, then that way you could get a little bit of everything.
Yeah, maybe. But 2026 is when we see it. And he has come across in an interview, has mentioned again, 15,000 Swiss francs will be like the model that comes out. That's where it will be. It might go down to 10, but this is like the the minimum you have to spend for Universal Geneve. And I think that's a challenge. We know he wanted to position it on top of Breitling, and he said there will be no overlap between the brand positioning. One is clearly higher than the other. Of course, there will be Breitling models that are more expensive than 15,000 Swiss francs.
Well, there's also, once again, Tudor models that are Rolex.
So there's a price overlap, but he says there is no positioning overlap. So interesting how he explained that. But yeah, so it will be an expensive one. And that's also something you have to convince people that this is now a brand that is worth that kind of money, because it was not that expensive before, right?
Yes, exactly. So that'll be interesting to see. But once again, the ones that they did make look great. Yeah. So I am happy with what they did.
I'm sure it will be quite good. I mean, he's working there for such a long time and for many, many years on these issues and these problems. And he knows a few things about watches, right, from IWC and Breitling and what else he did. And I think, yeah, but it will be a masterclass in marketing to see if they succeed or if they fail, and see how and what was the mistake, what was the benefit of how to create a new product of an old established brand. Crazy stuff.
Yeah, exactly. Now, another thing that I do want to mention, this is totally on a different side note. You asked me a couple days ago if I had opened or read the Submariner book, which I had recently purchased. Since then, I have opened and read through the Submariner book, not entirely, but I did enough, so to speak. Okay. And I remembered that there was a lot of backlash against Nick Folks for making a lot of errors.
Yes.
And in this book.
Yes.
And I was kind of like, whatever. Okay, 1 year here, 1 year there. It doesn't really make a difference. Well, I found one thing that really pissed me off.
Okay.
He stated that the original Submariner, when it came out in 1953, was 38 millimeters. And this was throughout the entire book. So everything all the way until the very end where they did production numbers, all the way to the very beginning, where he was talking about the history, he said the original Submariner was 38 millimeters. According to not a very big internet search, very easily, you can find that it was not 38, it was 37. And that is, of course, doubled down on by the fact that the Tudor Black Bay 54 is 37, which they mention is the original size of the original Submariner. So I did not find a single mention anywhere of this Submariner in 1953 being 38 millimeters.
Okay.
So how can you screw up that hugely? That's my question. I mean, that is when the brand itself, I just don't know.
Yeah. So the thing is, obviously,
although okay, if I'm looking at my thing about the Rolex, we know this for one very good source for Rolex info is Bob's Watches. They do mention that the original Submariner was
38.
They said no, they don't say that. They said between 37 and 38. So maybe there was just some production. How do you say it?
Well, it says here the evolution of the Rolex Submariner case. If you look at that, they're saying it has been 38 millimeters from 1953 to 62, 40 millimeters from 1959 to 2020, and 41 from
Who says this?
Bob's Watches.
Where do you see this?
On their website, and I'll show you that.
So the reference 5512 from 1959. Yeah. Oh, I didn't see that. Its case had grown to 40 mm, up from 37 to 38. So I think they were looking at this, or what's his face was looking at this.
At Bob's
However, on the site that I'm on, also on Bob's Watches, they say it was between 37 and 38.
Yeah. See, point is, does it make a difference?
No, it doesn't.
Right?
At all.
So,
But then why would the reissue, quote unquote, be 37?
yes, but the thing is it 37 or is it 37.5 or is it 37.4, whatever it might be, right? Very often you have watch brands who are saying, especially Rolex, this is a 41 millimeter watch, and it isn't, right? It's only if you measure
They
it from a very specific angle,
it is exactly
half
the
including
Black
the
Bay
crown guard
54.
and so on.
The Black Bay 54 is spot on 37.
Oh, okay. But you know that sometimes this is the problem, right?
Yeah.
So when they're saying, for example, now Supermariner models has depending on the source, 40.5 or 41 in diameter, because it also depends with the crown guard where
is what Rolex
you measure and all of this stuff.
Rolex calls it 41, but they measure it at 40.5, I think, right? So they rounded it up, and then mine was 40.3.
Yeah.
So it was not a very big difference.
So yeah, my point is with Rolex, there is sometimes a bit of a what they say and what it is and where you measure it.
But I would hazard a guess that if they were saying, if Tudor is saying this is the original size,
yeah,
that they would have done some research and they probably have one kicking about somewhere, right?
You see, this is the one thing that I'm never understand. Last time we have seen Rolex on Dubai Watch Week, they have brought a lot of historic models, right? It was like a mini museum in their stand. Yeah. And it was pretty impressive to see how they actually showcased all of these really, really old historic models from local collectors and also from their own museum, I guess. I don't even know if they have a museum. Obviously not available to go to for the public, but they might have certain things. Like Vacheron Constantin, they must have somebody of a heritage director or somebody who's in charge of just making sure history is documented right. Nowadays, maybe in the old times it didn't. They just produced and sold and then produced the next thing. And yeah, things changed. Like all of these different production changes. I mean, Rolex, that's why Rolex collectors are so nerdy about things, because everything changes. Oh, that's just a transition model where they used the new dial, the new hands and the old case and, all of these things that you have. Oh, this is the one where they have the shorter, like the Explorer, where they have the shorter hands for 2 years or something, and you use shorter hands and then they use the bigger hands.
And everybody made fun of it.
And then there's transition models between this and that and whatever. It's so complicated. There's so many variations coming out of this factory at Rolex. Maybe they're just saying like, well, there's a lot of stuff that happened over the years. Who knows? Sometimes parts pop out of this factory where they probably also think, well, did this really happen?
So from what I understand is they had, I guess back in the day, a big pool of stuff laying around, right? And sometimes things were slightly different colors. Sometimes things were slightly different shapes, whatever. Boom. Prints were different. They were experimenting with new stuff. But instead of just tossing away and saying, nah, we don't like the way it looks, they were like, case it up anyway. And that's exactly how we ended up with all of these weird, unique stuff. And what's funny is, of course, the same thing happened essentially with the Speedmaster. This new FOIS that everyone's installing, this blue-gray dial, was apparently a service dial.
Right.
That essentially they were kind of dicking around with, trying to figure out, what to do with it. And then they said, nah, use it as a service dial. And then people would send in their watch for service. They'd case it up with this new blue dial and send it back. And it was never put into production. It was just used as a service, which to this day, apparently there's only like 5 or 6 known blue dialed Speedies.
Wow.
So kind of cool that they remembered. They said, oh yeah, we used to have this. And then they made this FOIS specifically based upon that. Which then is the question. Then it wasn't really the first Omega in space because Walter Shiraz was not this color, but we don't have to point out that.
Yeah. It is.
Unless Walter had the one of the 5 replacement dials, which doesn't seem like it would make sense.
Yeah. See, there's so many things happening. So many things there in these kind of environments where you have so many different, I don't know, people involved there. I don't know. It's just, and I think at this time when you produce so much, right? And Rolex always did produce a lot, right? So it's just things that happen. Things just slide out, are used.
Yeah.
And especially in the time when, back into the 90s, even the early 2000s, you could just buy different dials, go to a Rolex boutique and saying, hey, I want a blue dial for my white dial watch. And they said, okay, sure, no problem. You have to pay a bit of money.
And they order one
you
for
get
you, exactly.
the dial and the hands, and we change it for you. No problem.
Yep.
Right? It was easy. You could do that. It was fine. Right?
Still to this day, you could do this in some places, right? So, for instance,
you have to wait. You have to wait a specific time.
Yeah, but it can happen.
Yes. Yeah.
But even now, Rolex, if you have a vintage, let's say a vintage Datejust with a color or a dial that no longer is made, they will give you a book and they say, here are all of the dials you could choose from.
Right.
And that is one of the few instances that you could change your dial color if Rolex deems that the dial is damaged.
Okay.
So kind of cool. You could do this.
Kind of cool. I want to share with you one more thing that I haven't talked to you about. I have been to JLC.
I thought you were going to say you've been to jail.
No, JLC. No, I haven't been to jail.
I've been to prison.
And I have been to the olfactory masterclass. Do
you smell a bunch of things?
Yes, I did. I actually mixed my own perfume. It was pretty.
Oh yeah, they started doing perfumes. God,
I don't think they really make perfumes to really sell. It's a bit like I don't know, a marketing activation thing or something.
Yeah, they
like
said
that.
It was going to be to give away or something.
But
right?
they do have 3 different perfumes. That
you paid $120 USD?
No, this is just because of my VPN. You can book it. This is free. It's a 1.5 hour experience with 6 participants. I was there as well. This is for the New York one. You can actually book it if you want as a normal person there. But they have a Nicolas Bonville. He's a perfumer who did for plenty of different brands, designed different perfumes. And he created 3 different perfumes for JLC. I must admit, 2 out of the 3 I would wear, and they were really nice. One of them was a bit too sweet because they're unisex, so some are a bit more female than others. But it's really, really nice, and they made us, of course, learn about the whole olfactory system and how you perceive smell and how scents are made and how they are distilled and artificially created and all of this stuff. It was really, really interesting. And then they gave us challenges as well. You have to figure out what smells in which way, in which category, and all of this stuff. And then you have 3 ingredients and you have to mix them in order to create a scent that you just smelled before on this little paper blotter thing, right? And then you have to do the combinations. You have 25 drops of 3 different things, 3 different potions, basically, that you have to mix in the right ratio to each other. So let's say 10 these, 5 this, right? So you get to your 25 drops. And then there's, of course, only one right answer. And then you have to mix it. And it's pretty interesting. It's a nice, and you have 3 tries, basically, with your pipette to put it together. It's very, very, it's a lot of fun. It's it was really good. And then in the end, they gave us a wonderful dessert, which was done by a Michelin star pastry chef, and it was just insanely good. It was really nice. We got some espressos, and we of course tried some watches on. And one of them was the one that you see on the screen here, the rose gold chronograph. Whoa. I mean, that
it looks good.
Was wow, because not only is it of course nice and chunky, it has this what is it, Fagliano? Yeah, what is it?
Yeah, the Casa Fagliano straps. But now they started making them a little bit different.
Yeah, they're making them now
it's
fully
nice.
leather, right? Not textile leather combinations. Or did they do that before as well? Anyhow, so this watch, if you turn it around, of course, you have the chronograph, open heart chronograph on the back here. 250,000, I think, dirhams. Limited edition, 250 pieces. I think I saw the Cubitus after this, and I thought, for the same price, I'd rather buy this JLC because it is the same price, roughly, right? 200,000 plus. Yeah. Anyhow, so that was that visit. So it was really cool.
But it's
really
the same. It's the same as the previous one, right? The stainless steel.
Yes, exactly. It's the same watch. It's just with a different dial and with a different.
If I'm not mistaken,
material.
the stainless steel has a running seconds.
Yes, this does not. This is more elegant.
Is that true? They changed the movement for this?
I guess so. Then must be, because that definitely has not a running seconds.
No, it does not have a running seconds. No.
Yeah, this has the minute counter retrograde on the bottom.
No, it's the same exact one.
And the chronograph, and then the normal counter.
No, I meant on the other side.
Yeah.
I thought there was a running seconds on the.
No,
it's not. They're both exactly just a two-hander.
Yeah.
But it's a good-looking watch for sure. I like it.
Yeah. So yeah, it was fascinating, and also the new boutique in Dubai Mall. If you have the chance, my God, go there. It's so tastefully done. I mean, JLC, they are just style icons for me personally. I think they're just. Everything is so tastefully done. It's so nice. It's
so this is I told you I had this this idea of selling my Reverso to buy the other Reverso. To sell the regular one, the classic, quote unquote classic, for the tribute.
All right.
However, I have thought about this long and hard. And when you look at a Reverso, what do you think epitomizes the Reverso? Is it the tribute dial with the sword hands and the little hour markers, or the blued hands with the Art Deco numerals? The Art Deco Arabic numerals.
Say that again. Is it what?
Which Reverso is the one ring to rule them all? Which Reverso rules them all? Is it this new idea, this new quote unquote Reverso tribute line that they're really pumping out now, which has essentially the sword hands and the little indices?
Yep.
Or is it the one with the Arabic numerals?
Arabic, not Roman.
No, I didn't say Roman. I said Arabic.
Okay.
I said the Art Deco Arabic numerals.
I think in the smaller watches, didn't they do also the ones with indices before, with the smaller ones? They did, right? So the question is, what is for me essentially JLC is being stylish rather than, I don't know, something else. I do feel when I look at their watches, I want to have, I think we talked last time about this one, right? In the last episode, did we?
I don't think so.
The Master Hubris?
No.
362 movement. This is also just beauty. You haven't seen this? Okay.
No, I haven't.
Let me quickly say that before I answer your question. The Master Hubris Mechanica Caliber 362 is a peripheral. As you can see, this is the tourbillon, flying tourbillon. Super cool, right? I don't know how I get back on this. Oops. Okay. How do I get back? Help. Anyhow, this is a flying tourbillon. It has on the back, I don't know if where I can see the back of the movement. Here, this is the back of the movement. It is it is a minute repeater. So you have here the gongs. Don't know if you can see this. And these gongs are actually fused onto the sapphire crystal. So it resonates with the sapphire crystal on your wrist. So it makes an incredibly cool and full sound. Then the next one that it does is, because you see here the back of you see the entire movement.
Yeah.
And how do they do this? Even though it's an automatic watch, is because They have actually
It has a peripheral.
They have a peripheral
winding
rotor in the front, and you see here through the cutouts that they made in the dial, you actually see the peripheral rotor going around on the front of the dial. And of course, you see the tourbillon. So they made it so that you can see the tourbillon. You have a full view of the back and the hammers and the gongs, and you have the rotor, and you can even see the rotor to the front, while being super tasteful. And this is where I
like it.
Mind blown of how you can create something that is so technical, and yet it's super elegant. And that is really something where I think, wow, I mean, this is only something that they can do in this way. So good. See, there's the peripheral rotor moving on their website. It's really nice to see.
It's very nice.
Yeah, so I have a newfound love for JLC, but I still have none. My wife has 2.
Yes,
I have 0.
I think you should get one.
Yeah, but which one?
What would you get?
I tried the rose gold one, and I thought, yeah, that's cool, but 200.
There is one for sale in our group that is amazing.
True, and it's a good price.
Did you see it? It's a good price. It's amazing.
Yeah.
It is. I don't know if it's true what he said. He said is the geophysic world timer, but he also mentioned that it was the deadbeat.
Yeah. There was one for a while.
I know there was a deadbeat, but I don't think the deadbeat was put into the world timer.
I think it was, but I'm not 100% sure.
That's my, I don't know, once again. Or you can get yourself a solid gold reverso.
Yes, I could buy anywatch.com. I saw that there as well. They had a 26,000 for, I think, the chronograph version, the steel version. But I'm not so sure if it's already sold. But they never have this on the website. They're not updating the website. They put this on the Instagrams all the time.
Yeah,
which is always annoying for me because you can't go back and find it if it's the reels, disappearing reels, right? Anyhow, yeah, maybe at some stage a JLC is on the horizon for me. I don't know.
And I think you should get not a reverso. I feel like you would be
a Polaris version.
No, not a Polaris. I could see as a Polaris, but I think the Geophysic, the Master, something like this. I'm trying to figure out if, in fact, it is the Geophysic Universal. It's a stunning looking watch, but is it really a deadbeat?
I think they did this for the world timer
indicator
for a
disc
while.
In this otherwise fun and interesting new family of true second movements. It is, which then means it's super awesome because not only do you have the world timer, which, by the way, I don't know if this is a true world timer, because I have realized that some world timers are better than others, so to speak.
Yes.
I didn't know this until recently. If you recall, I had very nice things to say about the Carl F. Bucherer, whatever, world timer that was the Hodinkee limited edition.
Right.
And originally they were like $8,000. And then this one guy bought his number 3. He's had it for sale on eBay for quite some time. He's gone from 8,000 to 7,500 to 7,000. Now he's trying to ask $5,000 for it. Nobody wants it.
Unbelievable.
And that's $5,000, untouched, brand new, and number 3 out of the 150. And on top of this, that's your buying price. So he's only going to get like $4,000 for this after eBay takes its fees and everything. Now, I looked up a video about this one because I thought, that's super cool. The only real world timers that I've gotten hands-on with was, for instance, the Zeitwerk from Nomos, which you essentially have a button, and that button will forward the time zone essentially by 1 hour.
Yep. So
you know that you are now in a different time zone. However, in this one, all it is, and this really kind of pissed me off, all it is an externally rotating bezel that goes around the dial, and you manually, with an additional crown, set, just like if it was a Polaris, for instance. It has internal bezel
Mhm.
that is outside of the dial that you move around. And that's all that it does. You still have to do the mental math on your own.
Where?
Which
one?
What's the purpose? So essentially, let's say I'm in New York.
Show me the watch again.
How do I share my
Because
screen? I don't know how to
every
do
every
these.
world timer is like that. It's you have the cities on the round, and then you have
Yes.
a disc with the time on it, and that
Yes.
turns in 24 hours against the
It has nothing to do with the movement. The world timer function has nothing to do with the movement. It's just an additional bezel with cities.
It's a 24-hour. It's a 24-hour disc, right? That moves around.
Yeah.
Against
With the name of the cities.
no, the name of the cities is on the dial.
No. This one's on the bezel. That's the issue.
It doesn't matter if it's on the bezel.
I will
You
show
don't
you.
have to. You can,
How do you share a thing here? There it is. Share my screen.
yeah.
Do you see?
Yes, I can
Okay.
see. Let me see. Pop out.
Bucher Hodinky world timer. So here it is. And essentially,
Yeah.
we have a 24-hour ring here, right?
Yeah.
And then all that happens is if you turn your left side crown,
Yes, you turn the city.
the things move around.
Yeah, but
that has
because your
nothing to do
city
with
has
the
to be on
actual
12
movement.
o'clock. That's the point. Your home
Yeah,
city.
but that's kind of stupid. But that's not what Nomos does.
No, it does.
No, Nomos clicks through and the entire thing rotates. Your hour hand jumps.
Yes. Okay. Yeah. That's
Which
how
I
you
think
how
is
to set
cooler.
it. That's a more sophisticated way of setting a world timer. But
Yes.
technically, you just need to set. You set your home city,
Yes.
and then you just
top.
have the offset anyways, right? I mean, that's how it is.
Yes, but then I don't need a world timer for this.
No,
I
but
can use a GMT to do
but you
this.
see exactly, for example, when you look at London,
city?
you see it says 11 o'clock. Then you look at New York and it says 6. And that will always be correct because, I mean, except
Yes.
summertime savings, obviously. But
But exactly.
because the
But you
inner
get
ring
my
of
issue here.
the 24-hour ring here, that turns.
Yes.
While
Like
the
a
watch,
bezel.
No, while the watch runs. The city does not.
What do you mean?
This white one that you are showing me there, the silver ring, the 24-hour
This is so
hands, that
complicated.
is running. That is turning.
I think we're over confusing our listeners.
Yes, we are. But it's the way it is. It's like you have the cities,
let's
and then
leave
you
it at
have the
this
24-hour
because
ring, and that turns.
We have a whole
against
episode coming up on this. So
against the counterclockwise.
You're not going to convince me this
is how it works.
Worthwhile. Okay, we'll
This is
discuss
how world timer
in
works.
our entire episode. Once again, we do have on our list of topics the next one that we wanted to talk about, or one of the next ones, is world timers and GMTs. So we will get into all the nitty gritty for that. All right. Now, the last thing I want to end up with here is the new G-Shock.
Ring?
No. Oh, God, no. Oh, God, that's hideous.
I couldn't
so
believe
bad.
that was real. I thought it was an April
I thought it was
Fool's
a
joke.
So many people sent it to me, and I was like, it's not April.
Yeah. And it's true. They have actually created it. And you know how they make this fit different fingers? They have inlays that you clip inside that thing to make it smaller. So basically, it's a fat ring that will fit fat fingers, I guess. And if you wanted to have it smaller, you have to clip in plastic spacers basically into the inside. But that means the outside of the ring is still big. I don't know.
And it's made in China.
So are a lot of G-Shocks, right? Made in Thailand or made in China. Only some are made in Japan, the higher price ones.
I don't have any of these. What are you talking about?
Anyhow.
Now, no, the one that I am talking about is, in fact, the DW 5000R.
Oh, right.
Which is, of course, the original. This is a 1-to-1 reissue of the original G-Shock from 1983. It is going to be made in Japan. It looks identical. It is a battery operated, and so it's non-solar. It does not have atomic time setting. It is extremely basic with the most basic module, but it has the screw-in case back, and it is made in Japan, just like the original one.
It's the Origin series. Yeah, it's a recreation.
It is. It's going to be super cool. The price is going to be around $200.
But you know what it has,
800
which is, I think, a bit insane.
Everybody's
it has a
upset
steel
by-
core.
Oh, yes. It has a steel core because the original one had a steel core.
That is crazy, right?
Which means that there's half, but I already have one with a steel core.
Ah.
Which, once again, all of our metal ones have steel cores.
Yeah.
But I have a rubber one, which is the GW5000, which also is a rubber G-Shock with a steel core. But the thing is, the color combos of that one, it's black and gray. And the original one had the gold shock resist or yellow, whatever color you want to call it, the red ring, the bricks. So all of the colors remain true to the original in this one.
I mean, it looks nice. I must admit it.
And
looks,
for 800 dirhams, who's going to bat an eyelash at this?
It looks nice.
It's super
my
cool.
problem with it is I have my unwritten rule for myself that it doesn't have solar. It's not gonna. I'm not buying it.
Yeah, but this is the original. So if you're a fanboy, I think it's okay to have one that goes against the grain.
Yeah, it is.
I'm
it is
100%
nice.
going to get this. I think it's super cool. And the thing is, one thing is pissing people off about it, and that is the fact that they did LED lighting, which the original did not have.
But I think this is a good thing to do because look, this little bulb that you had in the original one,
it would burn
not
out.
only it can burn. It's a light bulb, really, right, with a little thread inside. It is not very energy efficient, and it's just nowadays you can't even buy these incandescent light bulbs anymore because everything changed to LEDs because they're just better. So,
I remember we used to have those Maglite flashlights, and back in the early 2000s, everyone would do the LED upgrade kit.
Ooh.
You'd buy it on Amazon for like $10, and you can go and you disassemble the whole thing, and you pull apart the bulb, and you put in an LED and a little.
Yeah, I still have
cool.
a mag light, and I realize when you have the normal lights and the normal halogen ones in there, how bad they are compared to
They're
now
terrible.
LED lights. They were good
They're
at the time,
so
but
bad.
now it's like
Yes.
right.
And they just don't do anything. And they also just drain the batteries.
Yeah.
You leave the batteries in. So now for my Maglite, I have to remove physically the battery when I'm storing the Maglite. And I just store the batteries next to it.
Yeah.
So anyway, point of story, I think we've gone off of 16 different topics and tangents. But once again, dear listener, we will get back to you with the world timer and do a full-on
Yes, I will
dive
explain
into
it
what a
to
world
Martin.
The
one thing you have to do is go in a shop and set a world timer yourself and see and just turn the hands to see how it actually works together, because then it makes sense.
Yes. So right now I'm very confused because all I did was watch one video and it was not very good.
Okay.
All right. Cool.
Thanks for listening and catch you soon. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.